Welcome, everybody, to the video version of Florida Man versus the World. I have not done YouTube or videos in like 5 years since the 2020 election. I think in like September was the last video I did. I used to have a YouTube channel called Campaigns with Craig, which is now since most of the videos are deleted. But I want to come back and provide a video option for Florida Man versus the World, post it to YouTube and Substack. I have my podcast, I have my blog, with my essays, with my articles on it. And there's something intimate about audio, right? About podcasting, about radio. I go back to the days you listen to Rush Limbaugh in the car and you turn it on, the voice reverberates. Howard Stern, the voice reverberates in your car and comes down like some heavenly force. But video adds a second dimension to it. There's so much more that you could do with your body on camera, right? So I'm adding the video aspect to it. And what I want to start out with, something that really made me want to do video again, was March Madness, which is going in its first weekend right now. We're entering the Sweet 16 tonight, and tomorrow you're finishing the second round, and we'll know who's on the Sweet 16, as you can see in my Duke hat on. Duke is my alma mater. But we're going to look at the mascots with the most aura. I love mascots. And we're going to do the bracket not based off of, my own bracket, based on who I think is going to win. Instead, we're going to do it based off their mascots. And what exactly is aura the mascot? Now, that's something you can't quantify. You know it when you see it. And aura can be subjective, perhaps, but it's a certain X factor, a certain mojo. It's like the right stuff, what the French call a certain, I don't know what, all right? So it could be who's the most intimidating mascot. Who don't you want to fight on the field, on the court, because you know they're going to beat them. Who could beat you up in a fight? Or it could be the cutest mascot, the most unique mascot. Personally, I have a bias towards live mascots, which we'll see today. I think the live mascot is such a good representation of a university. Mascots show you what the university thinks about itself and how much they care about their program. It's not all about the sports, right? You want your football team, your basketball team to do well on the court, on the field, but the theatrics is what makes college football, college basketball, in my opinion, better than the NFL and NBA. We love the theatrics. And one important part of the theatrics is the mascot. And as you can see here, we have our first matchup, Auburn, versus a play-in game here. And our play-in game is going to be with Alabama State and St. Francis. That is Buzzy from Alabama State and Frankie the Friar from St. Francis. Now, Buzzy bothers me. I'm not a big fan of Buzzy. Not because I think Buzzy is inherently wrong, right? There's not many Hornets or Yellow Jackets or Bees in college sports, but there is a more noticeable and notable one, and that would be Georgia Tech's Buzz, the Yellow Jacket. And to me, this mascot is just a clear ripoff of Buzz. But we're not comparing him to Buzz today. We're not comparing Buzzy to Buzz. In fact, we are comparing him to Frankie, St. Francis. And if Georgia Tech wanted to be compared to Alabama State, they should have made the NCAA tournament, but they did not, and St. Francis did. Now, I really do not like St. Francis. I really usually don't like human mascots. And what I mean is anthropomorphized mascots in a costume. Human mascots, actual humans, can be pretty cool. Like, I'm thinking of Chief Osceola of FSU, Florida State, and he comes in riding on Renegade the horse, and he's in his Seminole garb, and I think that's a really good mascot. But human mascots and costumes like Frankie the Friar here are just not good usually. Just not good. I want an animal mascot usually. I want someone fun. And this guy does not look fun. His face structure looks more similar to like Jay Sherman, voiced by John Lovitz in the show The Critic. And he's not a compelling mascot. I'm not scared by him. He doesn't have any aura. No one really likes him. He seems like he's like, I want like a young, vibrant mascot. This guy's like middle-aged. He's balding. He looks evil. He doesn't look like a good guy. So that's going to lead us to Buzzy getting in against Auburn. And we have to compare him to our friend, Obby the Tiger here. Now, I really do not like Obby the Tiger. It looks like Tony the Tiger, and there are too many Tigers in college sports. You got Mizzou, LSU, Auburn. So what's the problem here? When I see Tiger, I think of a live tiger. Why do I think of a live tiger? I think of LSU's Mike the Tiger. So if you're going to come in with a tiger, something that's a very generic mascot, go all out. Get the tiger, keep him on campus, and that's what LSU does. And that's why I don't like Auburn. And these just look too close to furry mascots. And this will happen a lot with the feline mascots that we have, the cats, the tigers. They're not going to be the most compelling figures because they're going to look too much like furries. And that's nothing to say bad about the tiger as an animal, right? It's about the mascot. It's about the implementation. These schools usually do not implement it correctly. So what we have here is a play-in defeating a 1 seed. Alabama State's going to move on. So who do we have next in this matchup? We're going to have a Louisville matchup, Louis the Cardinal and Billy the Blue Jay. Now, this is a avian matchup. Avians are usually good, solid mascots. Louis the Cardinal here is nothing special, but there are some aspects that I like about him. I like the black mascara around his eyes. The red is really vibrant, and red's a very intimidating color. Things like blood, power, right? It's scary, and this guy's scary too. He's got angry eyes. He's not your friend. He's fierce, unlike some mascots who are trying to be your friend. You know, there's two ways to do it, but he does the fierce thing pretty well, I think. And I really like how he's closing his beak. He's yelling. He's growling. You can feel the growl, right? And as he's leading these football players onto the field, it's like he's leading them, their fierceness onto the field, right? Now, we're going to compare him here to Billy Blue Jay from Creighton. Billy Blue Jay has no sense of ominousness, right? I'm not intimidated by him at all. And I don't know if it's just the red color versus the blue color and the white. He doesn't look great. And the problem with him is that a lot of the times I'm thinking about the potential of what the mascot could have been. Now, Blue Jay could be a great mascot. I like birds, but look at the bronze sculpture we have here next to Billy the Blue Jay on Creighton's campus. That guy, whoever that is in the sweater, if they had made him into the mascot and you had those tufts of hair projecting instead of that little tiny thing here, I think he could have been a cool mascot. And this guy looks more angry, more fierce. He looks more like our friend Louis the Cardinal, but he's like an old guy, a grizzled guy. He's seen it all. But Billy here, the mascot in the costume, does not have it. So that's going to lead to a Louisville situation defeating Creighton, right? Now we get to Michigan. And I don't know if you know this, but Michigan does not have a mascot, which is very strange. You'd think a big program like Michigan, one of the most well-known college football programs, whether it's basketball or football, they don't have a mascot. They used to have a mascot. They used to be really cool. They used to have real Wolverines. As we know, it's the Michigan Wolverines. Benny and Biff. But that was almost 100 years ago. And they don't have one anymore. So that's going to lead to an automatic victory for King Triton of UC San Diego. This is their first time in Division I, and I'm happy he gets to move on because he didn't get to move on in the real tournament. He lost to Michigan. And I talked about how I don't like human mascots. I think UC San Diego is doing it right here, right? The problem with human mascots is oftentimes the skin of the mascot is too exposed. He doesn't look like he's some mystical, zany creature. But with the beard, the long beard and the gray beard of King Triton, and it's very nice. He looks powerful. He looks like he knows things. He's wizened. He looks like Gandalf or Dumbledore, right? And that tells us he knows he's going to lead these people, the athletes of UC San Diego, to victory. And he's got the trident. That's a really good addition there. And I like the nautical theming here. We don't get a lot of nautical mascots. So he's got a crown, and we got a story here. I like some mascots that gives a story. He's King Triton. He's got some sort of empire underwater. We don't know where it is. He might be like a Neptune, Poseidon type figure, but there's a story there. So that's going to lead to UC San Diego by default winning, but he could make it far. But this next matchup, I don't think he's going to get this next matchup because Texas A&M has one of the best mascots in college football, and I forgot a picture of him, but we're going to bring him up here, and that mascot is Reveille, Texas A&M. That is an amazing dog. That is an amazing dog. We have a live mascot here. I don't know what Reveille we're on, but that is Reveille 10. That is a collie. That is a great, great dog. Dog mascots like that, I am very, very biased towards dog mascots. and live mascots, if it's a good dog. And the dog here, though, from Yale, Handsome Dan, in a vacuum, Handsome Dan himself, it's a great name. There's nothing wrong with him. The Yale Bulldogs, I like Handsome Dan. But the problem is, going back to the tiger situation, we have a lot of dogs that are mascots. There are too many bulldogs, guys. There's too many bulldogs. You got Georgia. You got Drake. You're going to get more bulldogs, and I don't think Yale is cutting it here. Handsome Dan, I'm sure it's a great dog, but Reveille is an amazing dog. Beautiful coat, right? That's a beautiful golden coat you have on Reveille. Let's just look at her again. I forget if it's a boy or girl, but that's a beautiful dog. And if you don't know about these dog mascots, they go through many variations because dogs sadly die, right? So Reveille 10, we're on 10 Reveilles now. But that's a beautiful dog, and I'm going to have to, I have to pick Texas A&M to go, right? Now, we have another play-in situation here. We got to start with the person that made the actual round of 64 is Ole Miss, Tony the Landshark, but we got to start with figuring out who they're going to play. And I got the spirit leader from San Diego State, and I talked about human mascots before. This guy is a terrible, terrible version of a human mascot, often with an Indian, a Native American, right? So the issue with this is these Indian mascots are kind of going by the wayside. They're getting canceled. You're going to see this later with Illinois, University of Illinois. And just when I think about San Diego State, I think about Florida State. This is the Aztecs, right? Florida State does it so much better and actually honors the history of the tribe. There's no Aztecs anymore, right? So this guy is not a great mascot, whoever this is. The spirit leader, it's a very lame name. I don't think he's going to have a long career. I think eventually San Diego State, it's in liberal California, they're going to do something about him. And he's going against one of my favorite mascots, despite being a Duke alum and fan, Ramses. Ramses, that's an amazing name for a mascot. And you probably have seen the costume Ramses most, who's also a great mascot, a costume mascot. But this guy here, Ramses, a ram is fierce. It's obviously a male sheep, and he's got long horns. And those horns, they're curly. He's been around for a while, and there's multiple Ramses, right? Ramses is a pharaoh name from ancient Egypt. Strength, right? And what's great about Ramses as a name is that it's a play on words, right? Ramses. That's power. That is power. That is aura. And what North Carolina does to this ram is before every game, they paint him Carolina blue. I think that's a great touch. I think it adds something to him. I like when you have an animal mascot. If we go back to Yale, the problem with Yale is that they're not doing too much to the dog. And I don't think you need to do much to the dog, but there's nothing around Handsome Dan. He's just got the little Yale bandana, right? And here, though, we have the Carolina thing over him, and the blue horns really add to it. He's fierce. He's going to ram into you. They're going to beat you, right? So North Carolina is going to beat San Diego State here, and North Carolina's got easy competition in Ole Miss. This is a terrible mascot, Landshark. And if you don't know the history of Ole Miss mascots, they used to have a Confederate general named Old Reb, which they had to cancel, obviously. Mascots sometimes have a storied past, checkered past, and they replaced him with Tony the Landshark probably in the 2010s. I don't know, but the Ole Miss went for a while without a mascot. This is a terrible mascot. You know, there's no sense of creativity here. He just has a normal Ole Miss jersey on, and he's got Ole Miss gloves. He's got like some sort of wrap around his arms here, and it's just a head of a shark. That shark is really strange, cartoon shark here. Now, I don't think he's shown up in an Ole Miss game I read since like 2021. So they have no pride in their mascot. I know it's an awkward situation here with Ole Miss when you have to get rid of a mascot with a controversial past. And you're going to see later with Illinois, they don't have a mascot either now because they had to cancel an Indian mascot. So I'm going to go with North Carolina here. I know it says San Diego State, North Carolina. No, that's North Carolina. Now we get down to the next matchup of Cy the Cardinal. And Cy the Cardinal is fine. It's a good name because of the Iowa State Cyclones. But I think about the potential, right? We think about what it could be, and it's very easy to go back to bird mascots. We have so many bird mascots. You can go back to Billy Blue Jay. You can go back to Louis the Cardinal at Louisville. And this guy just looks like a deformed, stretched out version of Louis from Louisville, right? He looks like Knuckles, the same from Sonic, the same sort of color scheme. And I really don't like the big teeth on the beak. Louisville did it better. Louisville did it better. He's showing the teeth, but also he's closing his mouth and he's growling. There's no sense of movement. He's just frozen in time. And those eyes are really disgusting. I don't like this guy. But what did I talk about potential? First of all, whenever you see a bird mascot, I've always wanted there to be a bird. I want there to be a bird. And Auburn has a bird mascot, but that's not their actual mascot. Their mascot was Aubie the tiger. They have the eagle. They fly out. I wish there was a cardinal that they kept. Like, you keep a bulldog. I want you to keep a cardinal. But you think about the cyclones. I would say cyclones. What if we had an anthropomorphized cyclone, a tornado? I think that'd be so much cooler. Like the Tasmanian devil, he comes in, he destroys your team, right? Instead, we get a bird, a derivative bird that we have so many other times, and we get the LU bison. Now, the problem with the LU bison, the one thing I think Cy has over LU bison, or Lou bison, I don't know how they pronounce it, is that Cy's got an actually good name. LU's just Lipscomb University acronym. Cyclone. Again, a play on words. The better one was Ramses. Ramses is a great play on words, but Cy's fine. Cy's serviceable. But I do think LU Bison is more unique. I think he's more unique. The Bison's more unique. This guy just seems like a knockoff of Louisville. So even though I'm not a big fan of Lipscomb, I'm going to, Lou Bison from Lipscomb, I'm going to pick them to beat Iowa State here. So I don't think they're going to get very far, but that was an easy matchup. It was an easy matchup. Now it's time to get to Marquette. Iggy, the Golden Eagle. There are a lot of Eagles. There's a lot of Tigers. There's a lot of Bulldogs. And there's no live Eagle at Marquette that I know of. You're going to get, there's just too many Eagles. There's Swoop the Eagle. There's Boston College as an Eagle. FGCU as an Eagle. Now, this guy's different. He's a Golden Eagle, not a bald eagle, but the Golden gives it a good touch. I think if you have a white mascot with the white feathers, it just is not as imposing. I like the color contrast of the beak, the yellow beak, like a goldenrod beak with a brown. It's kind of like that UC Berkeley, and then you're going to see that UCLA with the Bruin, with Joe the Bruin, right? But again, I'm not crazy about the Eagles. I'm not, and I don't know where Iggy comes from. Now, I like the idea of Lobo Louie. I know what they were going for here, but again, just like the Tiger from Auburn, from New Mexico, here's Lobo Louie from New Mexico, Lobo meaning wolf, and it's the New Mexico Lobos. It's too raggedy. There's strength to the Golden Eagle. I'm not scared. It looks like he just got out of bed, didn't take a shower, didn't comb his hair. The Golden Eagle knows what's going on. He's sharp, and I don't know if he's going to make it too far, but we got to go with Marquette here. Got to go with Marquette. Okay. Michigan State. Not one of my favorite mascots. Michigan State, another human mascot, done poorly. He's got those fat cheeks, fat thighs. He needs to go on Ozempic or something. And he's got his green plate here, his plate body here. He's got abdomens there, but I don't think that's real, right? I think it's just saying that. I don't like this. I really don't like the human mascots. They're not fierce to me. And what we get here is just another bulldog. Again, I love the dog mascots. I love live mascots, but the bulldog is is overdone. And the school that really does it the best is Georgia, and that's going to come in later in the other side of the bracket. And I gotta go with Bryant though. Even though it's not the best bulldog, it's better than this human mascot. He looks weird. You don't like him. I don't like these human mascots. Make it an animal. Make it something else. But we got our first example of a married couple mascot. So there's many schools that do this sort of strategy here. You have a married couple, and I like the married couple mascots because it's fun. They're in love, and you can kind of feel yourself in them. You could be in love. You could be there, your girlfriend at the UF game. That's great. That's great. So you got Albert and Alberta Gator, which are great names. Obviously, Al Gator. I love that sort of play on words. And Alberta is a great name for the wife. And they even have the sexual dimorphism there of the female gator being smaller. So they really put thought into this at Florida. And I like that she has this little dress, right? They feminize her. She's got lipstick on. She's got a ribbon. He's got a hat. Albert Gator, this is a great mascot, a good, solid mascot. There aren't any alligators elsewhere in college sports. I'm a big fan of this guy. And there's a sort of lore to it, too. Because when you think about, you got Albert, it's not just Albert Gator, you got Alberta Gator. So, there's a story there. When you see him, there's an implied story of him falling in love with Alberta They met in a swamp somewhere, and now they're married, right? And there could be little kid. You don't know. I wish there was maybe little baby gators. The only issue I have with Florida is that, again, you think about the potential for a live mascot. They could have had an alligator on like a leash or something that goes out in the games. Now, I get the liability there. That's not as easy to deal with than a slow, fat bulldog, right? But it's just the idea of it possibly happening could have been cool. But it didn't happen. And I don't blame them. They did what they could. Okay. Now, I'm going to address the elephant in the room from Norfolk State. Norfolk State is an HBCU, as was Alabama State, historically black college, and they went with the human mascot. The problem with this is you're essentially getting our friend Sparty in blackface. They just made him black. So it's a derivative mascot, and they just made him black. I don't like this at all, and I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be racist here, but we can't go with him. They did not do it. They did not do it well. They just took an old mascot, made him black. It's too lazy of a move. And I really, if we're gonna go to another HBCU, Buzzy is better. But Buzzy, they have to have a better. It's not just them though, but they're just copying Buzz the Yellow Jacket. But I'd rather have him than a black version of Sparty the Spartan here. So Florida, easy. That's an easy beating Norfolk State. Now, again, here's two live mascots. We got the Husky, Yukon Huskies, Jonathan. Sometimes it's good to have a funny human name. I wish they might have had I don't really like naming dogs human names, but Jonathan, nice and simple. That's a good looking Husky there. The problem with the Husky is a part of this aura thing is originality, right? A Husky's a strong, fierce dog. Think about the Iditarod in Alaska. They have sleds. They're going through the winter, the snow. They're very fierce dogs and resilient dogs. But there's another school with a husky dog, a live husky dog. If you're going to have the same species of animal, same breed of dog, you got to differentiate him somehow. And he just looks too similar to Washington, University of Washington, Seattle. It's just too similar. They're the Huskies too. And the problem is he is going against one of the best live mascots. And this is an example of having something larger than just the animal. You're adding accessories to him. And here we have Boomer and Sooner, the ponies from Oklahoma. And there's Baker Mayfield up there. And obviously we have costume mascots. So oftentimes when you have a live mascot at a university, they have the costume mascots too. But these guys are the official mascots. And they're taking the Schooner Schooner, the wagon here. They bring it in and there's people on there. I think that's a beautiful mascot. I love having, you can really interact with them. And they're really not just having an animal alone. Like, I can go back to Yale, Handsome Dan, which is great. I love Handsome Dan. But the problem is you need to add stuff around him. And we're getting here Boomer Sooner with the Schooner, right? And it tells us a story of the Sooners of Oklahoma, the history of the state of Oklahoma. And look at Baker Mayfield riding them. That's great. I'm not a big fan of the costumes there. Again, they look like My Little Ponies because these are ponies. It's like a brony mascot, but we got to go with Oklahoma. Here. All right, Memphis. Now, this is great. Just like LSU, Memphis has a live tiger. Tom the Tiger, Memphis Zoo, one of the best zoos, famous zoos in the country, right? I don't know I probably think Mike probably came first, but even though the Tiger is a very derivative name for a sports team, a college sports team, it's great that they had the determination to have the Tiger. And that looks like he's in some sort of cage. I think he's near the football field, so they'll bring him out. That's great. That's a great Tiger. That's a fierce animal. We know it's a lot of aura. You got the stripes, beautiful coat on a tiger. And you just have this idea he's going to eat you up, Tom. Again, great alliteration. So you have Mike the Tiger from LSU, but they went with the alliteration of Tom Tiger. But, again, it's close to Tony the Tiger from Frosted Flakes. But my friend Cam the Ram, this is a better live mascot, I think. This is a tough one. I really do like the Tiger here and Tom the Tiger. And the problem here is that we already have a Ram, right? We already have UNC's Ramses. But the difference here is obviously they're not painting the horns here. And I really like the contrast of his off-white coat here and the green shirt they have on him. with Colorado State. Those are great colors, and you're running him out. And it's an interactive mascot. Mike the Tiger, I'm sorry, but this is not his fault. It's due to the nature of tigers. You can't have them going out in the field. It's too dangerous, right? So we're going to go with Colorado State here. Colorado State will move on. Now, we get Testudo. I do like Testudo because you usually don't have turtles for mascots because the turtles are slow, they're weak. They turtle up in their shells, they recede into their shell. And he does look somewhat like a bird because he's got a beak, but he's a turtle. So I love that Maryland is not ashamed of having a turtle mascot. So there's a juxtaposition there. Turtles have aura because they're confident. They are strong. They have strong defense. They have the big shell. They might be slow, but they're the big shell. They're not fierce. Like a bird's fast. You can imagine Louis from Louisville is very fast, but this is a slow turtle. And they have he's here with a sculpture of a turtle here, Testudo, on Maryland's campus. And the problem here, though, is, again, you think of the possibilities. You could have had a big turtle on the field, but you don't. A real turpin. But again, I really like the fact that they incorporated the M. Sometimes, if you look at a mascot, I really want to know what the school is. So sometimes, you can tell Boomer Sooner, right? The red, the white, you implement the colors here. You have the orange and green from Alligator, right? And we have here Ramses, the blue painted horns here. So I think I do like him. They incorporate the M. I like the brown color. Makes me think of Oski the bear from UC Berkeley, one of my favorite mascots. Unfortunately, Cal is not in the tournament, so I can't rank him here. And Testudo's just going against a bad matchup here. Thunder the Antelope. Come on. This looks like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in the stop-motion Rudolph movie. I can't go with him. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Again, I also don't like mascots that just have the jersey on them. That was like the problem with Tony the Land Shark. You need to have – he can't just be like a human just wearing the jersey just like you. He's got to go beyond that. We got to go Maryland here. We got to go with the turtle. All right. This is bad. This is a bad mascot. The reason it's a bad mascot is because it's another example of a stupid-looking tiger. There's too many tigers, and Missouri has the ability to have a tiger, a real tiger, like LSU. Memphis might not have the facilities, but it's a big program like LSU. They have the ability to have a tiger, and they're trying to add on this, like, oh, there's a little bus there, a siren, fire engine. It's not working, guys. He looks like a worse form of Tony the Tiger. I can't do this. I can't do it. I can't go with Truman the Tiger. Great name, great reference to Harry Truman, great alliteration, but I don't know if he's going to win this matchup. But the problem is he's going against another bulldog. Do I need another bulldog here? I can't go with another bulldog, guys. Drake the bulldog. There's nothing special about this bulldog. They think that people love bulldogs, and we do love bulldogs. Bulldogs are great breeds, but try a different type of dog. And there's other types of bulldogs. There's French bulldogs. It's not all just English bulldogs, right? We're going to have to go with, I love live mascots, but I can't just be fully biased. I can't have too many bulldogs. I went against Yale. Yale's going against Reveille from Texas A&M, which is tough, but I got to go Missouri here, even though I'm not a big fan of the Tiger. Okay. Big 12 school. Raider Red, Texas Tech. Now, this guy obviously is based off of, it's got to be Yosemite Sam inspired here. I love the guns. There's a fierceness to him. He can just shoot you. The Tiger is just strong. He can come in and rip your heart out. He can just kill you with a gun. That's great. So that is fierce. And the juxtaposition of the gun and the comical, cartoonish nature of him, he's got his holsters here. I really do like Raider Red. But I do prefer the Raider Red, which is probably an older photo on the left here. He's got the big hat, but he's got his own costume here and his own outfit. And you see on his belt buckle has the two T's, Texas Tech. The problem is here, I do not like this new Raider Red that has he's wearing another jersey. And the problem is, though, I think this guy's just not going to make it. Sammy Seahawk. Again, another hawk, another bird, a prey. I get it. Birds of prey are strong. They're going to eat you. But there's too many eagles, too many hawks. I got to go with Texas Tech here. Even though it's obviously derivative of Yosemite Sam from the Looney Tunes. Yeah, you're gonna have another mascot in this bracket that's based off of a cartoon character, like clearly, and that's gonna be the Oregon Duck based off Donald Duck, and just it's not my favorite thing. Not my favorite thing, but sometimes they do that. Okay, this is a pretty big matchup. Kansas and Arkansas. Again, same thing with a big matchup in the real thing. Bill Self and Calipari, right? What I love about this is I love two mascots because it does tell you a story. You have Big J and Baby J. This is like the Costco guys, Big Justice and AJ. There's a father and son, I assume, and it tells you that he's a good father. He's a good father. He takes his kid to the games. There's something admirable about this. And it doesn't look like just another eagle bird mascot. I love the Jayhawks. Good contrast between the red and yellow. He's better. He's probably the best bird that we've seen so far, I'd say. But the problem is he's going against a very good live mascot, and that's Tusk. First of all, there's multiple Tusks. I don't think these are the same Tusk. They might be. I do think hogs get black. There's the Arkansas Razorbacks. That's a great mascot. Fierce mascot. And look how cute he is. So you get the balance of knowing he was cute as a kid, but he grew up into something strong. Tusk. And Tusk, he stabs you with a tusk like an elephant, right? But this is a hog. It's a Razorback. And not many, I love the live mascots. They're just not another dog, and they don't need this. They don't need another bulldog. I got to go with the Razorbacks here. We're going Arkansas Razorbacks for more aura. Who else do we have here? Bad bird. Not a good bird. Now, the problem is these are very, very similar. Very similar mascots here. But Durango from Omaha, I do not like this guy. He looks way too similar to the baby, or the cheese thing. The cheese brand with the wax. And he looks like the Beanie Baby, Tabasco, the bull. I get it. I like it, but they could have gone with a bull. A real bull. And we get to see that with Texas later on. This bird's not the best bird, but he is unique that he's all red. So Louis from Louisville had the yellow beak. I do respect that he does have wings on them. Not all the bird mascots do. And birds actually fly if you don't know that. I got to go with Johnny Thunderbird. That's a great name too. And Durango is a strong name. It's a strong name, but I got to go with St. John's here, even though I don't think he's going to go too far in the bracket. All right, now we go to the other side, and we go with my alma mater, Duke. But first we got to do the plan. And that is Claude Z. Eagle. That's a fun name. That's a fun name from American University. And he looks happy. He's having fun. I like the shorter head here. I do like the polychrome here of the red, white, and blue. He's a patriot. But this guy's much more of a patriot. Again, this goes back to the Trident. King Triton from UC San Diego. He has the beard. So there's a mystical quality about him. It's like a guy from a Tall Tale. It's like a Paul Bunyan figure, Emmett S. Berg. And if you know, a berg is a mountain. So we're using German words here. There's hidden meanings in these words because it's Mount St. Mary's, right? Mount St. Mary's. I really like this guy. I really do like this guy, except for the mount. That looks like a chewing tobacco brand or something, that logo. And honestly, the flannel here, I like the fact that they did the muscles. It's kind of fun muscles they added to this guy. Because he would be fierce. Kind of looks like a Yukon Sam guy. Again, I mentioned Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I'm going to have to go with St. Mary's over American here. But the problem is I think the Blue Devil... Now, if I'm going to go Carolina, guys, I do like Ramses more than my own Blue Devil. I really do. But I think he does beat Mount St. Mary's. It's just something fierce quality about him. He's not a red devil. He's not a bad guy. He's a blue devil. Not a bad. Blue is a friendly color. But the royal blue of Duke's just a great color, right? And he's got his horns. It's not fully human. I know a devil is kind of a human, but he's got a goatee. He's got skin color there. And I love the cape. Not many guys have capes. So we're going with Duke for that side. Hold on here. Let's get the arrow here. Duke. All right. I believe we have another Bulldog coming up, and that Bulldog is Bully from Mississippi State. And he goes up against Lady and Joy from Baylor. Okay, I'm sorry, Bully, but you're just a more boring he's from the SEC with Georgia. He's just a more boring version of Uga, who's going to come up later. And I love, I'm not against him. I love the bedazzled Mississippi State collar here. Now, he is better. If you're going to go Mississippi, he is better than Tony Landshark by far, right? So he is, in his own state, he's winning. The Egg Bowl, he's winning. And I really do love that statue, the sculpture of him, like on the pedestal with the Mississippi State engraving on some. That's probably got that's got to be granite, right? So I do like this guy, but he is not better than Lady and Joy Baylor. So there's two aspects of the Baylor Bears that I love. They have two. I don't know if Joy's a man, but there's a couple here. There's two. You could imagine a story. If they're not in love with each other, maybe they're friends, right? They're playing with each other. They're eating pumpkins together. They're in a zoo. I really like this, Baylor. There's aura here. Brown bear. He's growling. He's strong. Lady and Joy. But is happy. And there's other schools that have bears. Think about UCLA Bruins, who do not have a bear. Live mascot. The Montana Grizzlies do not have a bear. This is a great mascot. Great implementation of a live mascot. And we got to go Baylor over Mississippi State. I love the Bulldog, but it's overplayed. It's overdone. There's too many live Bulldogs. It's too easy. It's too easy. I mentioned Donald Duck, and we have our friend Oregon Duck. Problem with Oregon Duck is that he's cute. He's cute, but it's just too much based off of Donald Duck. And it's like he's trying too hard. Oregon obviously has a history of being a flashy school, right? We're talking about Nike, Phil Knight just funding them. They got shiny green outfits, metallic, shimmering. And Oregon has some really cool logos with this guy, but they look like Donald Duck from a long time ago. And I'm happy they changed him a bit to make him not look just like Donald Duck. And he's fun, but he almost does too much to impress you. He's doing push-ups. He's dancing around at the games. I love a mascot that's active. But it's almost like he's trying too hard. But he has an easy matchup here with Sparky the Eagle. I really don't like. There's too many Eagles. I'm sorry. The Oregon Duck's just a better bird. Better bird. Okay. I think BYU here is going to have a live, not a live mascot, but wait, hold on. Do we have Akron and Arizona before we get to BYU? Yeah. Again, the Pac-12 loved having couples of their mascots. I believe they had that with the UCL Bruins is going to have a Joe and Josephine Bruin. And we have Wilbur and Wilma, which is going in a long tradition of, you have Wilbur, Wilma, Wildcat. So they had a repetition of the WIL. Albert Gator, Alberta Gator. So this is in the vein of Florida, right? And I do like it. They're feminizing Wilma here, the Wildcats, Arizona Wildcats. I love the Arizona Wildcats logo. That A. It's strength. That is aura. A for aura. And there's something about him. It's not just like the felines often have an issue. This is not a Mizzou Tiger situation. He's got personality to him. He's got the Converse, red Converse here. Like he could go bowling tomorrow. Like he's ready to go bowling, right from the football field to bowling. And he looks like he's a little grizzled, right? I love that shawl that he has. But he has basketball shorts on, and I love his hat. And she is a great female companion to Wilbur. So they feminize her. She has a little bow in her hair. It's very cute, very great addition. I believe that white is on his. He's gonna have a beard. That's gotta be some sort of beard. She does have a beard. Again, sexual dimorphism of the two creatures, and it tells us a story. They're in love. Look, they are in love. You can tell they're in love. And that tells us a story. Where do they meet? When we see them, it makes us think so many things. But you go to someone like this, there's no story here. There's no story to Sparky the Eagle. Who else do we have? There's no story to Claude Z. Eagle. There's no story with Durango. There's a story with Wilbur and Wilma. But the problem here is they're going with this guy, the Zips. Zippy, who I found out was a female kangaroo. We don't see many kangaroos. This guy is unique. I love Zippy. Zippy, he's zipping around. He's jumping up and down. Great name. It's the Akron Zips. And he's jumping around. Look how cute he is. But I think it's a girl. I think, again, it's an Oski the Bear influence probably. Because he has the elliptical face, an oval face. But he's got a little like hat on. Like it looks like a spinner hat without the propeller hat. I got to go with him. It works well with the name of Akron, right? The Zips. We got to go with Akron. Now, here we have a human mascot, I believe. It is Cosmo the Cougar. Great name. But, again, it looks like a furry costume. And Rodney the Ram does. We have multiple Rams, and the problem with VCU does not have an actual Ram, I don't believe, unlike Colorado State and North Carolina. You can see there's some Disney influence in this guy here. I love the horns. They kind of look like croissants or whatever. But the eyes are Donald Duck influence. So we have Donald Duck is going to be influencing a lot of these matchups here, a lot of these mascots. But I'm sorry. I think I've got to go with Rodney here. Again, alliteration, great name. Not the most original mascot, but better. Feline mascots usually don't work here. They do not work well. Going with VCU, Virginia Commonwealth. All right, who else do we have? Bucky the Badger. I do like Bucky the Badger. In Michigan, I think the fear with Michigan is it's a Big Ten team. Wisconsin's a Big Ten team. If they made a mascot, it would be hard to make a Wolverine that looks too different from Wisconsin, from Bucky. I do like the wide face. He looks like a badger, and I love the striped shirt he's got on. But there's the problem here. I don't know what to do with Monty from Montana, the Grizz. If you don't know, UCLA used to call it the Grizzlies, but they had to change because of Montana. Very strange, right? He's having fun dunking the basketball. He's got a headband on. I like the idea that Monty's riding a horse, but I don't think the horse is like inseparable from him. In the same way at Florida State, you have Renegade and Chief Osceola. For that reason, I'm gonna have to go with Bucky. Because if I took that horse into account, I would go Montana, but that's an unfair thing. It's not integral to the. They're not inextricable. Like he's not on the horse all the time. I don't think. I don't know. I couldn't get too many pictures. I don't know what's going on in Montana. Now this is a terrible matchup. St. Mary's, Mr. Commodore. This guy looks really creepy. These look like. Problem here is that they end up looking like Team America dolls from the movie Team America. That guy especially. I don't like him at all. I really don't. And I don't like Mr. Commodore either. He looks like Captain Crunch. I got to go with Mr. Commodore. That is a lesser of two evils situation. Human mascots, not a big fan. Again, this is a very easy choice. Got to go with Big Al here. Another terrible. They're doing too much with the Patriots, the Colonials. There's too many guys like this. We get it. You like America. I like America too. But part of America is having original mascots. I love Big Al. The trunk. What's great about the trunk is that they could have filled it with stuffing so that it would be like hard the whole time and it would just be stiff. But I like the fact that it is flopping all around like an actual elephant would be, right? A trunk moves around. It's dynamic. There's movement to this guy. And I love the loose skin here because elephants have loose. So they went in. They really thought about this. Again, I got to think, though, the potential of Alabama. They could have a real elephant. And an elephant's not like a tiger. You could control an elephant on a field. I know it's pretty big. But even then, that's an easy Alabama. Easy for Alabama. Now, this is another feline matchup. These guys are too similar. Sasha and Sasha, you could tell they probably took from Arizona. They're now in the Big 12 together, right? SIU. I'm sorry. That's a bad feline mascot. I got to go with the couple. That's the one thing. This is not a great mascot, but you got to go with the couple. The love, the story. All right, here's a big one. Big matchup. We got two Bulldogs here. That's very clear. This guy spiked the Bulldog. They could have a real Bulldog at Gonzaga. This is Gonzaga, by the way. I forgot to put that there. Gonzaga Bulldogs. That's so bad. He looks like Droopy Dog or whatever that guy is, the cartoon character. I forget if that's Looney Tunes or whatever, but he looks like Droopy Dog. Next floor, sir, from Roger Rabbit. Ugga here. We love Ugga. Uga is a the perfect embodiment of a bulldog. There's too many bulldogs. It's too easy. But they have things to accompany Uga. He's got his little house here. He sleeps there. I love the colors of red and black are great. And they have his face with a little dog bone. There's a collar. And they bury the Ugas on Georgia campus, I believe. And this is just a better example of a bulldog. You have to have things that accompany the creature. Again, the best one with accompaniments is probably the ponies at Oklahoma. But, Griff from Drake just doesn't have it. It's Uga. And there's a long line of Ugas. I don't know what Uga we're on. Uga 10 or something, but that's great. This is a strong, stout dog. He's a strong dog. You got to go with Uga. That's an easy matchup. Easy. That's like the easiest one so far. And we're getting a really bad one now. This is the scariest feline. I hate this guy. Hate him. Furry costume. But the problem is here, Rowdy's not great either. But of the human mascots from McNeese State, he's good. He's not the worst. He's got some grit to him. He looks like Ronald Reagan. He honestly looks like Ronald Reagan. I love the mix between the yellow and blue. Great combination. I like the tear on his pants here and the boots. He's been around. He's not just from a factory. He's been around. He's not like the prospector in Toy Story 2. He's been out of the box. So I got to go with a human mascot here. I don't know if I've gone with any human mascots yet. I've got to go with McNeese. Now we're getting one that he's kind of scary, but there's something endearing about Purdue Pete. And the reason why is because they're not going with the plush head. They're going with plastic or some sort of, I don't know what that is, some hard material, and it's reflective. So he looks like a toy, and he's unique. He's got the hammer. There's accessories to him. A Boilermaker, very unique mascot, right? I kind of like him. If you're going to go human, I like him being plastic. And to compare him to the High Point, I like the fact that he went purple, but he looks too much like Barney, and he looks too much like Durango, Omaha. I can't go with the Panther from High Point. I got to go Purdue, which is strange. I usually am not going with these human mascots. Now, Illinois, Chief Illinois is canceled. Human Indian mascot, not respective to the Illini, I don't know, like the Florida State is respectful to the Seminoles. Therefore, this is an automatic, and I don't think he could have beaten anyone, Bevo, but it's an automatic advancement for Bevo because he's going to beat, obviously, the Blue Blob for Xavier. Texas a plan. He's going to beat the Blue Blob. What is this? A bad human mascot. And the problem is, I really don't like when they have two different mascots that are, so different. It's fine if you have two different mascots that are the same type. So Albert Gator and Alberta Gator, fine. They're both Gators. I like the Big J, Baby J from Kansas. Those are great families. But these guys, it's like they've introduced the Blue Blob to try to be fun. Like this lady, I don't know if she's the president or whatever. It's like, oh, we're having fun at Xavier. No. The problem is a lot of these mascots, these new postmodern mascots, they're like, oh, we're just going to be a blob, just like the Green Monster. And then the Philly Fanatic, I forget, was that Grizzy from the Philadelphia Flyers or whatever? We don't like that. It's a postmodern mascot. They're trying too hard. Hey, we're being goofy. No, sorry, not going to work. Plus, it's Bevo. And just know that when I have this matchup here, it's Texas moving on, right? This is Texas. Easy Texas. What's my problem here? Why is this not working? I'm going to open this up again. We're going to save it, and we're going to open it up. Texas. Bevo might win it all, honestly. Bevo's a great mascot. Now, this is cool because Wildcat and Scratch, a feline mascot, and usually you have the feline mascots we talked about, Arizona, the Wilbur and Wilma, and they're just having fun here. And what I like about this is that they are both Wildcats, but one's more serious and one's more fun, right? So that's the juxtaposition we have here. It's not like Xavier, right, where you have a human and a blob. So we're both going in the Wildcat family. And sorry, but the Trojans look too much like the Spartans. It's not going to work, man. Troy, you got to go Wildcat and Scratch. And Scratch, it's like a fun name, right? I think Scratch is this guy, the fun one. And Wildcat's like the normal one. You got to go Kentucky here. All right, UCLA. Joe and Josephine Bruin. These are great Bear mascots, but not as good as Baylor, obviously. But we have the situation with a family, classic mascots. UCLA's got great colors. They're having fun. Man and wife, right? And I'm just not going with this bull here from Big Blue from Utah State. The bulls usually don't work out. Because the problem is I'm also comparing them to Texas, right? But Joe and Josephine Bruin, I think I gotta go with Joe and Josephine Bruin. UCLA. If you're going to have a bull, go all out, just like Texas does. Okay. I forgot the best mascot. One of my favorite mascots is Smokey. Just like I forgot Reveille. Smokey from Tennessee. This dog is amazing. I believe it's a coonhound, black and tan coonhound. Amazing dog. The best dog. He's running out. He's having fun. He's flopping all around. There's movement. So the bulldog doesn't have movement in the body, but the tongue and this guy's flopping all around. You got it's a blue tick coonhound, but you got, if you take him to Reveille compared to another, these guys are going to both go far. She's great, right? But the hair moves around, but it's not as good as the fun of the floppy ears. I got to go with Smokey. That's easy. And I don't even have to look at the other one, but the other one is Wofford. And Wofford does have a dog, and that's great. Not a lot of them have Boston Terriers. It's a very unique dog breed. But you gotta go with Smokey. Okay. We gotta go back to Alabama and Louisville. Let's look here. Alabama State and Louisville. Sorry. Oh, no. So we have Alabama State here and Louisville. I got to go with Louisville. The reason why is because I think Alabama State is too similar to Georgia Tech. And if we're going to go with, I believe, King Triton, great human mascot. I'm sorry, dude, but he's going against Reveille. We forget Reveille from Texas A&M. Great dog. Great dog. We love Reveille. And that's Texas A&M to win, going to the Sweet 16. I think I picked North Carolina Ramses to go here, right? So Ramses, where's Ramses? Ramses here. We like Ramses a lot. And Ramses is going against Lipscomb. Good bison, great bison, but UC Boulder does it better. So UC Boulder does it better with a real bison. I do like Ramses. You got to go Ramses. Great live mascot. Great live mascot. We love Ramses. Even though I went to Duke, we love Ramses. Marquette and Bryant, the Golden Eagle. And what does Bryant have? Bryant has the Bulldog. Okay. Again, I love dogs. I love live mascot dogs. Those are great. But the problem here is that this is a good implementation of a bird mascot. This is a great implementation of the Golden Eagle, a bird mascot. Probably the best bird mascot that we see here. And they don't really have any endorsements to the dog here. It's just like, hey, you like bulldogs. They're so ugly, they're cute, right? It's like come on. Like, pick another dog. Marquette goes on. And Oklahoma and Florida, as much as I love Florida, one of the best costume mascots, you're going against Boomer and Sooner. That's hard to beat. You got to go great live, probably the best implementation of a live mascot with stuff around them, and great integration with the costume versions of them, right? So Oklahoma goes on. Colorado State, I believe, is Colorado State and Maryland. Great ram. Not as good as Ramses, but a great ram nonetheless against Maryland, Testudo. Okay. Again, I love the ram. From Colorado State. Cam the Ram, great rhyming. But the problem with Cam the Ram is that Testudo is just unique. There are no turtles except for him. You got to go Maryland. The uniqueness factor is important, right? So The reason when it comes to aura, it's like he doesn't have aura because there's someone that's better than him, that's like him. So that makes him lose aura. If he was the only Ram, he would have beaten, probably would have beaten Maryland, but no. And now we get to Mizzou, Truman the Tiger, and Raider Red. I believe it's Raider Red versus Truman the Tiger. This is easy for me. Again, the felines never really work. This guy's too goofy. But the problem is that he looks too much like Yosemite Sam. There's better cowboys out there. I'm sorry, Raider Red, but I'm feeling Missouri. That is a decent implementation of a cat. He has the campy quality to him like Oski the Bear does from Cal. We're going Missouri. But the problem here is there's a very easy matchup. Very easy for someone here, and that's Tusk is just going to defeat Johnny Thunderbird from St. John's. This is so easy. This is one of the easiest matches I've ever seen. And in the Sweet 16 nonetheless, right? So we got to go Arkansas. On the other side, now I think my Blue Devil is going to go down here because he goes against Baylor the Bear from Lady and Joy. I'm sorry. Great costume mascot. Very unique. The only other Devil is Arizona State. But I do like the Arizona State Sun Devil mascot. But you got to go Baylor here. Sorry, Duke. I got to be objective. And what's my next one? My next one is going to be Oregon. The Oregon Duck versus Zippy. This is easy. Easy. Because, again, the derivative nature of the Oregon Duck based on Donald Duck, and he's like trying too hard. And he's the only marsupial, Zippy from Akron. And the integration with the name Akron, the Akron Zips, is great. Is great. I got to go Akron here. We got to go Akron. Now, VCU. This is rough. There's too many Rams, and they don't have a live Ram, so they don't have the advantage that Colorado State and Carolina do. But he's going against Bucky the Badger in a very unique mascot. The shape of his face. Some of the mascots have like uniform proportions on the a spherical head. I love the fact that they elongated his hem, smushed it down, and the stripes are great on this guy. Versus Rodney Ram, again, is just wearing a normal jersey. That's too lazy. He's wearing a special sweater for him. Got to go Wisconsin here. Now, this one is going to be very easy for me, and that is Vanderbilt Commodore, Mr. Commodore versus Big Al. I don't even have to explain it. I hate human mascots. The trunk really does it for Alabama. Again, I would have loved if Alabama had a live elephant, but they don't, and I understand the limitations of that, so I'm not going to get too mad at them for that. But if we're going to go Georgia, Uga versus Sasha and Shasta, again, I'd pick Arizona over Houston here. I'd pick Wilma and Wilbur over Sasha and Sasha from Houston here, and they're in the same conference nonetheless, so they're seeing each other a lot. You got to go Uga. That's just easy. Best implementation of a bulldog. He's the first one. He has a long lineage of many Uga family. Right? They love the bulldog at Georgia. They revere the bulldog. It's not just an afterthought. Like I get the sense that Drake, it's an afterthought. Gonzaga, it's an afterthought. It's like, hey, here's a bulldog. Sorry, the Bryant, I think, had a bulldog. You got to go Uga. And McNeese and Purdue. Okay, two human mascots. Not a big fan of them, but for uniqueness quality, like he's like something out of a nightmare. Rowdy, he looks like Ronald Reagan too much. I got to go the Boilermaker. Purdue Pete. He's the most unique human we have. Purdue. And again, Bevo versus Kentucky. This is such an easy one. I'm sorry. Look at the smoke. They love Bevo. The long horns. He's big. He's imposing. He's going to run you over. Plus, the color combination of the coordination that they had with the tan burnt color of Bevo, right? And then the burnt orange color of Texas, as well as the white. It's white and burnt orange, the Texas colors. And now we have Bevo. Long horns, big, and that one of the greatest matchups of, we're getting to a big matchup here I'm seeing, and it's probably Texas and Georgia are going to go against each other. And those are two animals that did meet each other in real life at the SEC championship game maybe a long time ago, a few years ago. But the problem, this is going to be a tough region. Tough region. I do like the Bruins. They're great bears, but again, Baylor has the real bear. And he's going against, again, Smokey. This is Smokey the bear. Not Smokey the bear, Smokey the dog. Oh, that's just a cute dog. I'm sorry, man. That's an amazing dog. You got to go Smokey. That's an easy one. That's going to be a tough matchup. Texas, Tennessee. I don't know where I'm going to go here. I do not know where I'm going to go there. That's going to be a tough one. But we're going back to Louisville and Texas A&M. Sorry. Reveille goes. Got to go with the collie. Got to go with the dog. Just to remind you how cute Reveille is. That's a beautiful dog there. Okay, North Carolina Marquette. We got, I think it's the Eagle of Marquette, the Golden Eagle, which is a good implementation of a bird. Probably the best one I saw. But you got to go with Ramses. Again, live mascots. Maybe it's unfair that I just go with the live mascots. I'm not going with the Bulldogs all the time. I'm going with Uga. But the problem is that if you have a live mascot, you're putting effort and thinking about the mascot. And usually they put it in conjunction with a costume mascot. Now, this one's easy, too. This is an easy matchup. Boomer and Sooner and Testudo, the Turpin. Love Testudo. Unique costume mascot. But Boomer and Sooner, again, I said is the greatest implementation. I'm not saying it's going to be the best live mascot. I don't know yet. But it's the best implementation all around of a animal mascot. There's two of them. I love the duality. You can tell they're friends here. And the duality of the costume mascots with the Sooner Schooner. Was that Sooner Schooner from Oklahoma? You got to go there. And Missouri, this guy had an easy lineup bracket region, so he's really going to go down here when he goes against Tusk. That's just easy. Got to go with Tusk. Got to go with Arkansas over Oklahoma. And Baylor and Akron. Okay. I'm kind of shocked here because I don't think I'm going to go with Baylor. I love the live mascot. They're the only ones that actually implemented the bear because UCLA did not implement the bear. But you get the sense that they're probably not going out in the field in Baylor. I don't think they are. So there's the versatility aspect. You got to be able to use the animal mascot. You can't just have some Mike the Tiger just locked up in some zoo in Baton Rouge, right? That's why we got to go Zippy. Only marsupial we have, I believe. Only marsupial. So you got to go Akron. And Wisconsin and Alabama. These are just pretty iconic live costume mascots. But you got to go Big Al. The movement of the trunk really adds a flavor to it. I really love Alabama here. Georgia, Purdue. This one's so easy. I'm sorry. Purdue Pete, terrible name. When you have the school name in the, you could have Bill the Boilermaker. That'd be a better name. But when you have the school name, just Purdue Pete, that's too lazy. Now, Uga, that is the school name. And he looks like an Uga because it's not just, here's the school name. It's like Uga. He's making that noise as he's Uga, like a bulldog, like huffs and puffs, right? So we're going Georgia here, obviously. Uga, we love Uga here. And this is to me the toughest of all time. You got to go Bevo or Smokey. What the hell do you do? What are you supposed to do here? That is I really don't know what to do. But I'm leaning towards Smokey. I know Bevo is so iconic as a mascot, and I just feel like Smokey doesn't get enough love. Again, great color combination and coordination on Bevo. But the problem is, when you have a live mascot, the dog is perfect because the dog is interactive. Bevo is a bull, a longhorn, and Bevo's not going to show you much affection. He doesn't know what's going on. Like he is kind of carried by his horns and his size, but Smokey you got to pet him. He's so happy there. His tongue's out. His ears are flopping around. There's no movement. And I love when you're talking about adornments on a head, horns are great. Like, oh, that is so cool, the long horns. But the ears on Smokey flopping around, I got to go Tennessee. That is tough, but I got to go Tennessee. All right. Reveille and Ramses. We do like Ramses here, despite him being from Carolina. We do like Ramses. The problem with Ramses, when you compare him to Reveille, is that I talked about how you have to have endorments on the dog, but you get the sense that it's an easy thing. Just painting his horns. Like, okay, he's painting his horns. It's so easy. And again, the dog is an interactive creature. I know I've been mean to some of the Bulldogs here, but like, you got to be mean to the Bulldogs because there's too many of them. There's too many Bulldogs. But Texas A&M, Tennessee, they're doing it great. Reveille is amazing. Beautiful, beautiful creature there. And when we go Oklahoma, again, Boomer and Sooner, these are great, great mascots here. In Tusk, these are going to be tough matchups here. Where's Tusk here? Where's my friend Tusk? Problem with Tusk is that there's nothing around him. There's no context. There's nothing special about it. But the thing about the Boomer and Sooner is that they are integral to the history of Oklahoma. Because remember, the mascot represents the history and what the identity of the school. I got to go Oklahoma. And it's the whole package here. Baker Mayfield knew the optics of this. And there's the symmetry between the two ponies. And this, the Boomer Sooner is a great addition. Dynamic movement. The emotion of them running into the field through the tunnel. You got to go Oklahoma. I do love Tusk, though. Now, this is a battle of some good costume mascots between Akron and Big Al. Where's my Zippy from Akron? I do love Zippy, but the problem with Zippy is that if you're having a costume mascot, there needs to be dynamism there. There's needs a kinetic force, and there is with Big Al. Big Al has that with the trunk. And I know I really think about having a elephant, but the problem with Zippy is I think about having a kangaroo, a real-life kangaroo. So I'm going Alabama here. I do love the trunk is amazing. Trunk is amazing. And then Georgia and Tennessee. Okay, this is rough. We love Uga, but the problem is there's too many Bulldogs, and Smokey's the only coonhound there. He's the only hound there, flopping all around. Let's look up Smokey Tennessee puppy. That's got to be a beautiful puppy. Where's he? Oh, my, that is a cute dog. That is look at him. That's him as a puppy. I'm sorry, Uga. We love you, and you're great for football history and everything, but you got to go. Got to go with the coonhound. Got to go Smokey. That's tough. All right, so here we have our Final Four. Got a Final Four with Texas A&M, Oklahoma. So that is, just to do a recap here, that is Reveille from Texas A&M, a great, beautiful dog. You got Smokey from Tennessee. You got Big Al, who's the only costume mascot that we have in the Final Four, which that's pretty impressive that he got that far, knowing my bias towards them. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him. Let's just look at Big Al here. Yeah, Big Al's great. We love Big Al. And then finally, you have Oklahoma. We love Boomer and Sooner. This is gonna be tough. But the only horse on this matchup is Oklahoma. And I love Reveille. She looks beautiful. Beautiful dog. I don't know if it's a girl, but that's just a regal looking dog. Like a lion. Look at that mane. But the problem is the whole package of the Boomer Sooner, that is just that is, and it ties into the history of Oklahoma. I'm sorry, but I don't think that Rev Lee has to do with Texas A&M history, right? In the same way. I hate to do this, but it's got to go Oklahoma. And this is a clear victory for me. I love Big Al as a costume mascot. Maybe my favorite costume mascot. That's at least in the 68 here. I got to go Tennessee. I got to go Smokey. Again, they both have the dynamism there. So you have the real-life dynamism of the floppy ears, floppy tongue, floppy skin for Smokey, the coonhound. And you got the trunk of the ears for Big Al. And that is a great implementation of a costume mascot. But again, I go to Alabama. You should get a real elephant. Get a real elephant. And finally, you have Boomer and Sooner and Smokey. That is tough. That is a really tough one because you got the history, the story of Oklahoma Sooners, right? That's the story of Oklahoma. But unlike the other dogs that there are on this list, there are many dogs. Smokey, the name, has to do with Tennessee, right? The Smoky Mountains. And I love the checkerboard color here of the Vols, the orange and white. And when we think of a mascot, this comes to a fundamental disagreement what a mascot could be. I get the theatrics of Boomer and Sooner, and it's really great. It's a great show when he runs in, right? If you're going playing college football, NCAA on your PS PlayStation, great beginning theatrics of Boomer and Sooner, right, on the Sooner Schooner. But a mascot needs to be a solitary thing, a mascot. Who is the mascot? Who is the mascot? Because when I see the mascot, am I thinking of the ponies? And there's two ponies. So which one is it? Which one's the? And is it the wagon? Is it the people on the wagon? Is it the costume mascots? There's too much. There's distractions in Oklahoma. And that's why my winner for March Madness for my favorite mascot, and probably my favorite mascot in all of Division I, is going to go with Tennessee, Smokey. Great, beautiful dog. Perfect, beautiful creature. All right. Thank you for listening.